I never feel any hate, because again, it's more of a good on you, Rod, well done. Got yourself out of your working class surroundings and you made the most of it.
What do you really know about Rod Stewart? Beyond the spotlight, the stadiums, and that legendary raspy voice. Behind the glitz and glamour lies a life layered with more than just platinum records and flashy suits. Some chapters are uplifting, others are deeply personal.
The reason we did it is because, especially in the holiday inns, we'd get no respect. So we just took our revenge.
From shocking revelations to unexpected decisions that left fans stunned, there's more to his story than anyone expected. A moment of silence, a family rift, a voice nearly lost forever. Each thread tells a tale. But which one left even him shaken? And why is everyone talking about it now? What you're about to discover may change how you see the man behind the mic. The making of Rod the Mod. Rod Stewart grew up in Highgate, North London, as the youngest of 5 children in a working-class family. His father, a Scottish master builder, eventually ran a newsagent shop, and the family lived above it. Although they weren't wealthy, Stewart described his childhood as fantastically happy. His first love was football, and he showed real promise, even earning a trial with Brentford FC. However, after deciding the demands of professional football weren't for him, he began to gravitate toward music. Leaving school at 15, he took on a string of odd jobs, delivering newspapers, working in a funeral parlor, and assisting at Highgate Cemetery, before falling in love with American folk, blues, and soul music. By the early 1960s, Stewart was busking with a harmonica and performing in local skiffle groups. His first real break came in 1963 when he joined the Dimensions as a harmonica player and vocalist. A year later, a chance encounter with Long John Baldry at a train station led to an offer to join his band, pulling Stewart into the heart of London's rhythm and blues scene. There, he honed his raspy vocal style and stage presence. Embracing the mod subculture, he earned the nickname Rod the Mod, and quickly made a name for himself. These gritty, formative years on the London circuit laid the foundation for the charismatic, genre-defying performer the world would come to know. Rod Stewart's long career has been punctuated by loud criticism of his artistic and personal choices, not the least of which were the ones that provoked controversy. Arguably, his most publicized transgression was his disco conversion in 1978, with the hit "Da Ya Think I'm Sexy." One of his major commercial successes drew criticisms that the act had deserted his rock roots. The glamour of the song may have gone a little too far, he would later say, but the lyrics were, for him, an example of storytelling rather than self-promotion. The hardcores and purists mourned his departure from another tradition marked by emotional constraint. Folk rock, the original definition of his solo career. Another big incident was Stewart's performance at the Sun City Resort in South Africa during the apartheid regime in active defiance of a global cultural boycott. His action drew condemnations from anti-apartheid activists and from his fellow artists. Although Stewart would later regain some respect when he returned to his rock roots with ventures such as the Great American Songbook series, his earlier lapses had left his public persona somewhat tarnished. Still, it was the abuse that kept him alive, his resourcefulness, and his penchant for taking creative risks that established the longevity of his career, making it clear that, in spite of the controversies, his star power was beyond being touched. But behind the headlines and headline-making choices lies a colorful yet complex love life. Rod Stewart's romantic journey. Rod Stewart's romantic journey has been as colorful as his music career, marked by headline-making relationships and a blended family of 8 children with 5 different women. His first marriage to Alana Stewart produced 2 children, Kimberly and Sean, and lasted from 1979 to 1984. He later married model Rachel Hunter in 1990, with whom he shares Renee and Liam, before divorcing in 2006. Stewart also fathered children with former partners Kelly M. Berg and Susanna Boffey. But it was his third wife, Penny Lancaster, 27 years his junior, who truly transformed his outlook on love. Their romance began in the late 90s when Penny was hired to photograph his tour. What started professionally soon blossomed into a deep bond, culminating in a romantic proposal atop the Eiffel Tower in 2005 and an elegant Italian wedding 2 years later. It's telling how the bond between Rod and Penny was strong, but it was never short of challenges. Stewart was devastated by a short separation that had him taking comfort in a framed photo of Penny and pouring his heart out through the song Picture in a Frame on his Time album. The couple also faced pregnancy challenges, having suffered 2 miscarriages before finally having sons Alistair and Aidan, the latter conceived through IVF. Still, their love prevailed. They renewed their vows not once but twice at their home in Essex, and again on the road in Australia with family present. Romantic Rod calls Penny his whole world, while Penny has described it as still feeling like we just met. Their lasting tie, marked by intimacy, encouragement, and mutual commitments, is ample proof of Stewart's growing up from rock star heartthrob to family man. But beyond the news of whirlwind romances and vow renewals, Stewart faced one of his most personal reckonings yet, with a daughter whose story had been shaped by silence, struggle, and ultimately reconnection. This strange daughter, Rod Stewart's eldest daughter, Sarah Streeter, has lived a life shaped by both absence and redemption. Born from a teenage fling between Rod and art student Susanna Boffey, Sarah was placed for adoption and raised by Evelyn and Gerald Thubron. She didn't learn of her famous parentage until she was 18, and for decades, contact between father and daughter remained scarce. Struggling with personal loss and unresolved trauma, Sarah fell into a destructive cycle of addiction, battling alcohol and crack use. Despite several attempts to get clean, she frequently relapsed, haunted by guilt and the pain she caused her loved ones. It wasn't until the death of her adoptive mother in 2007 that Rod reached out, rekindling their connection and helping guide her toward recovery. Their relationship is gradually healing and strengthening. For Sarah, the important factor that made it possible to finally overcome her weaknesses was the restoration of the bond with Rod. He has been very supportive of her practically and emotionally, supporting Sarah once every year coming out of debt and giving her some sort of stability. More importantly, he connected her with her half-siblings, thus strengthening her ties to his family. Now, Sarah comfortably refers to Rod as her dad, which used to sound so distant but now comes so lovingly. These days, Sarah reflects on their past and says, "It's very complicated," placing blame for the hard times, fame, and circumstance imposed on them. Now the father and daughterhood that began in fractured terms is finally speaking of a wonderful relationship, one that Sarah says is long overdue. Rod and Son's legal troubles. Despite Sir Rod Stewart's claims that none of his 8 children have been in serious trouble, his eldest son, Sean Stewart, has a history that suggests otherwise. Over the years, Sean has faced multiple legal challenges, including assault charges and lawsuits. In 2002, he was sentenced to 90 days in jail and 5 years probation for attacking a 19-year-old man outside a California restaurant, resulting in financial restitution and mandatory anger management and rehab programs. His legal troubles continued in 2007 when he was charged with 4 felonies, ranging from assault with a deadly weapon to vandalism, after allegedly throwing bricks at a couple's car outside a house party. That same year, a separate lawsuit accused Sean of beating a man outside a Hollywood nightclub, causing significant injuries. Though most of these cases were settled out of court, they highlighted an ongoing pattern of behavior during his younger years. In a more publicity-grabbing incident, Rod and Sean were actually the ones who figured in an altercation with a security guard at the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach, Florida, on New Year's Eve. Having been refused entry to a private party, Sean reportedly shoved the guard, and Rod supposedly punched him in the ribs after things got heated between the two. The case was reportedly guilty to both father and son of misdemeanor battery, but they were spared from jail, fines, or probation. Rod later explained he entered the plea to evade the hassle of a high-profile court trial. Sean has given full rein to his tale of sobriety in the recent past, including tales of having previously used heroin, and he seems to be in a better place now. He seems to have shifted gears to a quiet life, now married to Jody Weintraub after a spontaneous courthouse wedding, though his past still looms above him. But the courtroom wasn't the only place Rod Stewart would find himself in a fight for stability. Prostate cancer and other health setbacks. Rod Stewart's battle with prostate cancer began in 2016, when it was unexpectedly detected during a routine checkup. Although he wasn't experiencing any symptoms, a PSA, prostate-specific antigen, blood test revealed elevated levels, prompting further investigation. The diagnosis came as a shock, and Stewart admitted to feeling an unfamiliar level of fear and vulnerability. He and his wife, Penny Lancaster, chose to keep the news private for nearly 3 years, sharing it only with their older children to shield the younger ones from distress. His cancer was aggressive and had spread beyond the prostate, ruling out surgery. Instead, Stewart underwent a rigorous 3-month course of radiation therapy, commuting daily to a London hospital for treatment, all while continuing his music commitments. Ultimately, early detection proved life-saving, and in 2019, he was declared cancer-free. More recently, in August 2024, he was diagnosed with strep throat, then contracted COVID-19, and was unable to perform several shows. During his recovery, doctors warned him to take care not to overuse his voice in order to avoid damage in the future. These ongoing health challenges have made Stewart increasingly aware of his limitations, especially as he continues to tour in his 80s. But he remains focused on exercise and their own health, while maintaining a balance between passion and work. Through it all, Stewart's resolve and determination, humor, and zest for life have propelled him forward. Always a showman, but now with a greater purpose. In addition to his widely publicized battle with prostate cancer, Rod Stewart also revealed a frightening earlier diagnosis: thyroid cancer in 2000. The news came as a devastating surprise, discovered during a routine scan just as he was gearing up for a new tour. While thyroid cancer is typically treatable, its proximity to the vocal cords posed a unique threat for Stewart. For someone whose iconic raspy voice had defined his decades-long career, the idea of losing it was more terrifying than the illness itself. He later admitted that his biggest fear wasn't dying, it was losing the very thing that made him who he was. The surgery to remove the cancerous tissue was quick, over and out within 10 minutes, he once said, but it came with a heavy price. The operation disrupted the muscles in his throat, leaving him completely unable to sing. It was scary because I couldn't sing a note, Stewart confessed during an appearance on Loose Women. He explained that the vocal muscles all have memories and needed to be retrained from scratch. What followed was an emotional and frustrating 6-month journey of vocal rehabilitation. Each attempt to sing even a simple line like, "Wake up, Maggie," ended with his voice cutting out unexpectedly. Stewart said the emotional burden of this ordeal also affected him. In his autobiography, he avowed, "If we're ranking threats to the survival of my career, losing my hair would be second only to losing my voice." Thanks to an extensive regimen of therapy and vocal training, Stewart has been able to regain his voice. But the scars of this ordeal ran deep. More than the fear of losing his voice, he began to question what really mattered: his health, his family, and his connection to music. It became a juncture in life and career, which altered his sense of purpose and personal fortitude. Since then, Stewart has been very vocal in raising awareness for cancer prevention and early detection. Stewart has become a messenger for routine screenings while speaking candidly about his own journey for the sake of encouraging others. His thyroid cancer ordeal had not only shaken his physical health, but made a dent in the very fabric of his being as an artist. Yet through all that, to heal and to perform again is the very determination that triumphed. By the time The Tears of Hercules was out in 2021, Stewart was already back on tour, singing out to the world that in spite of everything, the vocal cords behind Forever Young remain forever strong. From patient to philanthropist, Sir Rod Stewart's legacy extends far beyond his music. After overcoming his own life-threatening health battles, including thyroid cancer in 2000 and prostate cancer in 2016, the rock icon transformed his personal trials into a force for good. These diagnoses reshaped his perspective on life and inspired a deeper commitment to helping others. No longer content with just performing at benefit concerts and fundraising galas, Stewart began actively raising awareness for cancer prevention and supporting those amid their own health struggles. His openness about early detection and treatment has sparked important conversations about men's health, with Rod using his platform to encourage regular screenings, famously quipping, "Finger up the bum, no harm done." Stewart's generosity has been demonstrated in extremely personal ways, beyond just his advocacy for good causes. He made what could be considered one of the most touching donations of all: a home for a family of 7 Ukrainian refugees fleeing from war against Russia. By publicizing the act, he was hoping others would do the same. Heartbroken to have lost his brothers Don and Bob in 2022, Stewart remains bent on his mission of giving. There have been many acts of kindness from Rod Stewart in the last few years, surprising a local barber who raised thousands for charity and secretly supporting causes behind the scenes. Rod is proving that his heart is just as legendary as his voice. As he celebrated his 78th birthday in 2023, fans were reminded worldwide that Sir Rod Stewart is not only an icon of music, but also a compassionate champion for those in need. He's given so much to others, but when it came time to say goodbye to his LA estate, things got unexpectedly personal. Rod Stewart's real estate standoff. Sir Rod Stewart's Beverly Hills mansion, a custom-designed estate he purchased in 1991 for just over $12 million, was listed for a staggering $70 million in June 2023. But selling the opulent property proved more difficult than expected. Featuring 9 bedrooms, a wood-paneled library, 2 gyms, a grand foyer with marble floors, and a 3-story guest house, the estate was tailored for luxury and entertainment. Designed by renowned architect Richard Landry, the home also boasts a swimming pool and elegant outdoor spaces. Despite its grandeur and steep appreciation in value, Stewart raised the asking price to $80 million shortly after listing, signaling his unwillingness to let go for less than he believed it was worth. Eventually, he dropped the price to $74 million in February 2024, still holding out for a deal that matched the home's star-powered legacy and sentimental value. As per the interviews about the house, this dilemma was not merely about dollars or square footage. It ran very deep emotionally. For Stewart and his wife Penny Lancaster, the decades spent making memories there really weighed on their minds, especially since this was where they gathered the family together during Rod's Las Vegas residency in 2024, and they're just thinking about the sale of this beloved estate. Rod set to rest any speculation that he and Penny had a marital rift when he stated that there was absolutely no disagreement between them concerning where to live. Originally, we did think it made sense to sell our house in LA. Component placement, he explained, but having spent a wonderful time there, we realized that it makes sense to keep our house. They are now based in Essex, but the Los Angeles hideaway remains dear to them. In the end, it was not an ordinary real estate transaction. It meant a lot to them as keeping a chapter alive in their family's life. Net worth and musical legacy. As of 2025, Rod Stewart's net worth is estimated to be around $300 million, a testament to his remarkable career that has spanned more than 5 decades. This fortune stems primarily from his music, with over 250 million records sold worldwide, making him one of the best-selling artists of all time. His signature raspy voice and genre-blending style have brought generations of fans together, cementing his place among music's elite. Beyond record sales, Stewart's global tours continue to bring in millions, with sold-out arenas across continents showcasing his unwavering popularity. Additionally, royalties from his extensive catalog and shrewd real estate investments, including multi-million-dollar properties in Los Angeles, London, and Florida, have played a significant role in boosting his financial empire. Rod Stewart's legacy is more than just wealth. With the Jeff Beck Group and Later Faces in the late 60s, Stewart's sweeping, soulful voice made very rapid inroads into rock and blues. But it was his solo career that took off with the release of Every Picture Tells a Story, featuring the timeless hit Maggie May. In the years following, he faithfully plunged into experiments with a slew of genres, from rock to folk, soul, disco, and, of course, big band classics. One key factor to his longevity is his ability to follow movements and trends while still being himself. With his unforgettable hits, Do Ya Think I'm Sexy and Forever Young, combined with his touring schedule and charity work, Rod Stewart is not only a music hero, but also a symbol of constant artistry and reinvention. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Rod Stewart's story, don't forget to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more legendary moments and surprising celeb stories. And hey, don't stop now. Click the next video on your screen to uncover even more behind-the-scenes details you won't want to miss.